Okay, just got called out here for a 2010 Chrysler Town & Country. Got a few miles on it there, 266,995. Customer's complaint is that once the car warms up, if you shut it off, it will not restart. And of course I got here, the car was cold. I did go in there though, and I did look at all the other codes, and I'll show those to you, but just to show you, the engine is running right now. The coolant temperature is right here, 215. So we are fully warmed up. So before I do that though, just to show you the codes that were in history. Cylinder 1 misfire. That's what I see, which is actually really interesting because there was multiple other codes that were there just a moment ago. I know that there is a cylinder 1 misfire. It's not what I'm here for. I can feel it in the seat of my pants. But there was a lot of other codes that were here, and a lot of them referred to a no communication. So of course I'm already hooked up down there, got the breakout box ready just in case. I also am all set up out there at the PCM right now though, because the PCM seemed to be the one I was losing communication to. So the very first thing I'll do here, just so we have it, is if we do a code scan, which will take a moment, but we'll let it sit there and build up a list, and then we'll look and see how many modules are actually on the network. It's a good idea to do this before if you think you have something that's dropping out, if you think you have a module that's dropping out, and all you have is a snap-on. You know, I could have the Chrysler on here and look at the topology, but with the snap-on though, you can run a code scan as long as it's available for you, and you can look to see how many systems are detected. And in this case here we have 18. So there are other codes elsewhere. Let's see if anybody else is setting codes right now. Yep, lost communication with the ECM, PCM, TCM, original VIN mismatch, stored. Somebody probably replaced the ABS module on this and put it in the used one, which is not what they're supposed to do. Lost communication with ECM, ECU reset recovery is restored. That's from the front left driver's module, ECU reset. And security seed and rekeys. So it looks like we have an ECM here that stops talking. That's the guess. And again, we were just in data there, so we saw right now with the engine running that it is talking. So I'll go back into engine, and I'm already like, you know, 3/4 of the way into this thing, but I'm not at that point there where I'm ready to make a diagnosis yet. We're going to pull up data stream just to make sure one more time that we have data. Alright, let's customize that again, because for some reason it doesn't want to store it. Let's look at crank signal missing. We'll get our coolant temperature voltage up there again, our engine speed. We'll pull up any one of the injectors just for the sake of having it there, the map sensor. And let's do throttle position 1 and 2. And that should be that. We'll go voltage sense as well. And we'll go list view. We'll pull up a short list. So as you can see, we're definitely awake and running here. So I'm going to turn this key off, and then I'm going to cycle the key back on. Okay, so right now it's still communicating. Alright. Now, one of the things they mentioned before was that they saw that the Prindle was not lighting up. So let me turn it off again for a couple seconds. And I'll show you guys in a second there, because I am hooked up outside with the lab scope. The key's off. Well, come on, focus in there. Turn the key back on, and it's still going to start right now. Yep, she's going to start. Okay, so let me show you guys what I did here, just so you'll know. This right now is what I'm hooked up on out here. If it focuses, there we go. So I have 4 channels already set up out here on the Pico. Excuse me. 3 of them are going to be the power inputs that go into the PCM. You're going to have battery power, ignition power, and the last one there is going to be a 5-volt reference, just because I want to see whether or not I drop out of 5-volt reference. So keys in my hand right now. Clearly 2 of them should be at battery voltage and 1 of them should be sitting dormant. Yes, it is. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's change this around to auto range axis so we can see it a little bit better. And that'll put them up there on the scale so we can see it. If it stops focusing on the car. It does not want to focus on that at all, does it? Alright, let's try that again. Nope, now it wants to focus on the background. There we go. Alright, so we got one that's at 20, let's see, we're at 12 volts. We have the second one at 12 volts. One is down at 0, and the other one's down at 0 as well. So I'm going to crank this again. Let's just watch to see what our battery voltage does. Turn the key on just to see. Nope, right now it's going to be behaving okay. Now, I have a feeling we may have accidentally fixed this car, which I hate, but sometimes it happens with a little bit of magic. So, sometimes when we're in there and we're doing our back probing, which I despise, but when we're doing back probing, sometimes we make a terminal fit a little bit better than when it did before, and or we flex a joint and make it so that it actually behaves a little bit better. So in this case here, I had 2 of them here that were a real pain in the butt that just did not want to back probe properly, and I had those 2 here that appears. The other 2 are back probed and they seem to be working okay. Let me go back in here and reset all these, reset my view layout. So although they're on top of one another right now, I'll just scroll it down just a little bit so it's easier to see. And we'll move our green down just a little bit so it's easier to see. But we are looking okay there. Yeah, there's a little bit of ripple, but that's not going to be our issue. And we are at about 14.3 volts. So this is where I'm at. I have moved these around. I've also moved this harness around. I'm going to wiggle that harness again just to check. No changes there. Mind you, I'm just looking for a change on the feed inputs coming in. Nothing changing there. Nothing changing here. Check that last one, we'll wiggle that. No change there. See, when you're back probed and it's wiggling around, and you start wiggling and jiggling on the connectors, well, you're going to lose that contact. I will show you something cool though, since it's not happening at the moment, which is Pico added this in here now. Oop, come on, stay focused, would you? This is a smart check. So what it does is, when that lights up again, that will tell you if all 4 of your channels are actually connected properly. So if one of those goes red, like let's say, well, I guess we can, let me see if I can pull that out okay. I'm going to disconnect that one, and now you can see the drop out there. I'll leave it dangling. And if you look at D lit up as red there, so we knew that there was an issue. I cycle it again, I wonder if it'll do it. Let's see. Didn't flag B that time because it looks like because apparently it sees that it wasn't hooked up for that whole cycle. But if it drops out midway through, it gives you that fair warning. So not a bad feature. There's another, you know, I've seen the E-Scope already does this. I kind of like how the E-Scope does it though. It does it live, so you have a little indicator up there on the screen. One day we'll get to the point where we can own one of those and show it. See, I have borrowed one in the past and I actually really do like it, but the Pico definitely does a great job for everything that I need. So unfortunately, looks like everything here wants to behave at the moment. Now the only other difference is I do have the hood open, so I'm not keeping in the resident heat. So let's do that. Let's close this up, lay that down. Let's see what happens there if we keep the heat in. Mind you, we also have the fender cover off now, or I should say the wheel well off. So that may be part of the issue. It's still just a cylinder 1 misfire. Let me cycle that key off one more time, just to see. Well, knowing what we're set up for and knowing that everything is all there, I think what I'm going to do is I may make a part 2 to this if I can recreate the issue. I'm going to try to insulate that computer a little bit, see if I can do something with that, and I'm also going to see if I can keep some resident heat out there in that engine compartment, just in case it's a sensor or something that's pulling down a 5-volt reference, causing the no-com. You know, things that I want to check on there. And I'll probably set up the snap-on scope just as a backup, and I'll hook that up to the breakout box since it's already in here, and then I'll have that on there also just to check the CAN lines. But again, that's only going to be the CAN line on this one, going from the data link connector out to the TIPM. So that'll just tell me if there's any activity between the scan tool basically and the TIPM. But just in case the TIPM's dead, and that's who's failing, that could be a possibility. So that's one of the things I'll add on to this diagnosis.